Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. And you guys, we are just about 2 months, almost to the day, away from our trip to Fiji.
Yeah.
We haven't given you an update, we haven't talked about it really since we announced the trip. And we thought, things are getting close, they're getting real because we've been booking and finalizing a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we figured it was time to give you a Fiji update.
We leave for Fiji on September 17th, which is almost exactly 2 months away.
Yeah, and our itinerary I feel like it's like 90% done as far as like bookings and all that kind of stuff. Obviously things can still change, but we thought we would walk you through kind of what's booked, what our trip is now starting to look like, just kind of give you an, I don't know, like a Fiji update, an idea.
Yeah.
First of all, Sherri, now that it's 2 months away, is it starting to feel real yet?
No, like I think for two reasons. Fiji still just doesn't feel like a real place. I mean, I understand like logically that it is, but it just doesn't feel like it's a real place.
Sure.
But also like I feel like there's still part of me that is like not wanting to get super excited because we were super excited and it got canceled in 2020, and so part of me is just like we're gonna hold back just a little bit. We're gonna keep this trip at arm's length so that it doesn't break my heart again.
Yeah, you almost don't want to get like too excited and attached,
right?
Because of like what the last couple years have been like.
Yeah.
A couple things that have changed as far as travel, even getting to Fiji. The current situation in Fiji is the things that we need is we have to be fully vaccinated, which we are. We have to take a negative test once we get there. Actually, within 3 days of arriving in Fiji, you have to take a COVID test.
Right.
Now, when we actually booked the trip, it was different. We actually had to take a test before they even let us on the airplane.
Right.
That has changed. We also do have to have trip insurance.
Yes, we have to have like COVID trip insurance.
Yep, exactly. So those are kind of the things that you need to have currently to travel to Fiji. Obviously, that stuff's changing all the time.
Right, yeah.
So we're kind of watching that. Let's first talk about the getting there, because there have also been some changes in that.
Yes.
You guys,
I feel like it's fairly regular that we get an email saying that our flights have changed.
I bet at least 5 times since we announced our Fiji trip, we've gotten messages from our airlines that it's like, your flight has changed and you need to call in. Your flight has changed.
Right. So far it's been like, it's changed by half an hour.
Fairly minimal
like,
stuff.
Yeah, just kind of like little tweaks.
Yeah.
That hasn't been anything major, like your flight is canceled.
Well, no cancellations.
Right.
Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Thanks for doing it as well. However, there is one long layover we have now.
Yeah.
So let's talk to you a little bit about getting to Fiji, because that's one of the biggest questions we get is like, how long is that trip from Alaska to Fiji? Well, we did the math.
We sure did.
Just flying time. This is like actually on an airplane.
Yep.
It is basically 17 hours.
Just barely shy of 17
It's like
hours.
16 hours and 50 some minutes.
Right.
That's a long time on an airplane.
Yep.
Total travel time to get to Fiji, 31 hours. Now, let me... Sherri's not excited about that. Now, let me break this down. We fly Anchorage to Seattle, and then we have like hour and 45-minute layover. And then we fly Seattle to Los Angeles. We have a 13-hour layover.
We sure do.
At LAX. Now, let's talk a little bit about this layover.
Yeah.
Because it actually kind of works out great.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday that we're there. And then we get in at like 10 a.m. and we leave at like 11 p.m.
Right.
Or like get in at 11 and leave at midnight, something like that.
Right.
One of our friends is actually going to pick us up and we're going to get to spend the day with her in LA.
Yes. And honestly, the plan is to just stay awake.
We're going to want to sleep.
We're going to want to sleep because we will have basically flown through the night from Anchorage to Seattle and Seattle to LA.
Yeah.
But our plan is to stay awake so that hopefully we can sleep on this terribly long flight from LAX to Fiji.
Because we actually get into Fiji at like 5:45, 6 a.m. If we could sleep for the second half of that flight, for the majority of that LA to Fiji flight, and wake up around 5 a.m. in Fiji time,
morning,
that would be perfect.
That would hopefully kind of automatically reset our clocks.
Yeah.
Our internal clocks, and like we'll just kind of be on Fiji time.
So, thoughts and prayers that happens.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. And so then we get to Fiji early in the morning. We have decided not to rent a car. We are just going to use private car hires, transportation, shuttle services, that kind of stuff while we're there. There's actually a couple companies that we've already talked to about doing that for us, just kind of for our whole trip.
Yep.
Because we get in so early in the morning, we can't check into our hotel till later that day.
Right.
So we're going to have the car hire, the shuttle service, take us to our hotel. We're basically going to have them store our bags, and we are going to get into our warm weather wear, grab our books, and sit by the pool.
Yes, it is a resort. We're staying at a resort, and we can use the resort. We just won't be able to get into our room.
So let's talk about the resort. First of all, we're not going to tell you the resort we're staying.
I'm not going to tell you what we're staying.
For a lot of reasons.
Right.
We had looked at... we had probably looked at 30 or 40 resorts all over Fiji, different islands, different places, all that. And we were trying to figure out what kind of a trip we wanted to have. Did we want to spend 3 days in one location, 4 days in another, and then 2 days and 3 days in another? Like, what do we want to do?
Right.
What we decided on, we kind of went back to the intent, and you guys will remember when we announced this Fiji trip, part of the reason this is able to happen the way that it is because of... essentially, it's a sabbatical grant that I received for my work in like the nonprofit world. And the focus of the grant, the money has to be spent on rest and renewal. Like this is a sabbatical kind of like rest grant.
Yes.
So that kind of determined, in some ways, the sort of vacation we're having.
Yes. So we are... kind of original thought was a couple days here and we'll move to a different resort, a couple days here, move to a different resort, a couple of days, and kind of be able to like experience a bunch of different places. But we basically came down to the realization that would not be super relaxing because we're just constantly on the move.
It would be amazing, and we get to experience a ton of stuff.
Right.
And so what we decided really was, let's spend the entire trip in one location. Well, at one resort.
At one resort.
But we wanted a resort that was in a location that gave us a couple things. First of all, one of the things that Sherri wanted is Sherri's like, we're going to Fiji. Wouldn't it be cool to have like a beachfront, oceanfront bungalow that we could like watch the sunset over the, over the beach from our room. And so, you didn't want just like a traditional hotel room, if possible.
If possible, correct.
So, the resort we're staying in, we were able to get that. So we have an amazing oceanfront room, has like a balcony, or not a balcony, but like a
like chairs,
patio you walk on with chairs, and it's just like sand and the ocean and palm trees and exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
Goal. And so then we were saying, well, that's awesome, but we also don't want to only do a resort for 9 days.
Right.
Right? We do want to experience some of Fiji.
Right. We want to get out and we want to see different parts of Fiji.
So we wanted a resort that was also accessible to jumping off places to go to other parts of the country, other islands, all that stuff. So this resort has that as well. It's secluded, but also close enough to access other stuff. And so the way that we've even broken down our itinerary is kind of like a couple resort days, and then like an activity day, and a couple resort days and an activity day, a couple resort days and an activity day. Just sort of giving us time so that when this is over, we can leave with the goal of just simply being relaxed.
Yes.
Like it's just like a breath. It's an extended period of time in paradise.
Yes, but that we also still got to experience things, because that's one of the things we love about travel, is getting to experience different cultures and different people and different places, and so we wanted to still be able to do that. So
some of that stuff has already been booked, and we'll tell you a little bit about the things that we've booked. But one thing I do want to also say before we get into that is a decision that we've actually made regarding YouTube and this trip.
Yes.
Normally when we travel, and I think when we did the announcement video, we told you that we were going to vlog the whole trip, and we just weren't going to edit anything till we got home, right? We were going to film while we were there and then edit once we got home. That's still kind of the plan. We are going to film when we're there, not post any YouTube videos while we're there, but we've actually decided not to vlog every day.
Right. We're going to probably vlog the activity days.
And do some like resort tours. We'll show you that kind of stuff. But I bet half of the trip we're not even going to pick up the camera.
Yes.
The reality is that like the intent of this trip is rest and relaxation. And while YouTube is not restful, it's just one more thing to think about.
It's one more thing to think about and to kind of be on, I guess.
Yep.
And we don't necessarily want to have to do that every single day.
100%. So
we're not going to.
We're not going to vlog our entire Fiji trip. I know that might not make sense to some, but it's what makes sense to us.
We'll vlog the exciting parts, but I mean, honestly, a lot of our plan is just to like
sit on the beach with drinks.
Sit on the beach with drinks and read.
That's it.
So like, there's not a lot to vlog.
No. So
honestly.
So we're still going to bring you along. You're still going to get our to experience Fiji with us, but we're not going to do, you know, like when we do cruise vlogs, it's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. This will not be that. The reality is like this trip primarily is for us, but we also will bring you guys along.
Yes, so, and we will still probably be posting to Instagram.
To be honest, we'll probably post a lot to Instagram.
Yeah, so
because it's Fiji.
You probably want to follow us there.
I've been seeing like photos that people post from the resort we're staying at, and I'm just like, how is that real?
It looks fake. Like, it just looks like a postcard.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about the things that we've booked. So one of the things we wanted to do obviously was get off of the main island and kind of get out a little bit. And so we've actually booked a private island day.
Yes.
We're going to a private island. We're taking a, essentially it's called a tall ship, which is like a big sailboat.
Yeah.
In some ways, out to this private island, where they're basically all day long, and we can do things like snorkeling. We can do things like paddleboarding. They have glass bottom boats. They have like all sorts of massages and the bar, or hammocks and nothing. And it, yeah, exactly.
That's gonna be me.
And it is spectacular. And so it's this private island experience right out in the middle of one of the kind of groups of island there in Fiji that it just looks crazy.
It looks beautiful. Yeah.
So one day just out on a private island.
Yep.
Another thing we thought would be cool would be like kind of some sort of a sunset cruise.
Yep.
And so we're actually doing later on in the cruise a sunset cruise with like a lobster dinner.
Not later on in the cruise, later on in the
trip. I'm so used to cruises.
I know.
Later on in the trip, we're doing like this sunset cruise that goes out, and there's like live music, and there's some like Fijian storytelling and cultural stuff.
Lobster dinner.
And a lobster dinner that Sherri's very excited about.
Yes.
When we were looking at the menu, there was like this option to like upgrade to the lobster, and you just looked at Sherri, and the look on her face was, it was almost like, there's no way we don't do that.
Who's not doing that?
That's
And
a
if
good
not,
question.
why are you going to Fiji?
Good question. So we're doing that. Another thing that we're actually doing that I think is pretty fun is we're going to do, we're going to visit a local village.
Yes.
This was important to us, was like to get actually, I don't know, it's similar in some ways to like Alaska. Any place that is very touristy is similar.
We want to go experience the real culture.
Yep, so we're going to go spend a day.
Not the touristy culture.
Nope, we're going to go spend a day in the village. And it's interesting, even like planning that and learning about that. There are certain things that when you go into a village, like I can't wear a hat. Like it's a respect thing. Like my hat, I don't wear it.
Shoulders and knees cannot be visible.
Yep, so one of the things that we need to get, but either before we go or when we get there, is we need to buy a sarong, right? The Fijian wrap.
For him.
Yep.
I have like a long dress that will be perfect for it.
Yep, so got to go find one of those. Fortunately, Anchorage has a gigantic Pacific Islander population. We have some amazing stores here. So I think I'm going to actually buy one before we go so I have it. So we're going to go spend a day in a village. One of the things that's actually really interesting is that most villages will have a kind of like a donation box at some prominent area in the village for you to leave almost like gifts for either the school, children, or elders. It's
kind of a sign of respect when you go into these villages to bring some kind of gifts for the elders and for the schools.
Yep. So we're going to bring, we don't know exactly what yet, but we've started looking to figure out what's the most helpful thing for us to bring with us.
They kind of just said like no candy,
no
like actual food items, but like school supplies are really big, obviously, for schools. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to bring a whole bunch of stuff. We'll go shopping for all of that before we leave.
I think we're going to use the kindness fund for that.
To buy a bunch of stuff to bring with us. And then leave a bunch.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm very excited about that. And then we are also doing a day in Nadi. Nadi is it's kind of like the main, it's where the international airport is. It's the town we're flying into and out of. There are some things in Nadi that we want to see. They have like, I think it's the largest Hindu temple in the southern hemisphere. that looks awesome.
Looks beautiful.
They have some food markets. They have all sorts.
With no knees and shoulders visible.
Yep, exactly. So we'll be respectful when we go in there. And then just like see a lot of the cultural, a lot of the markets and stuff that are based in that town. Just do kind of some town tour.
Yep.
There's also a garden we're going to that has over 2,000 species of orchids. Sherri's you guys know Sherri loves like photography of flowers.
I do, and like part of me is just like panicking a little bit because like, can I fit 2,000 photos on our camera?
Okay, so note to self, buy extra SD cards before the trip. And so
I'm gonna need a photo of every
So just like a lot of that kind of stuff is sort of what we have planned. And then lots and lots of resort time.
Yes.
Our resort, fortunately, now this is a good thing for me because you guys know that I'm not one to naturally rest. It's one of the things that I've loved about cruising is that you're put in an environment where you're kind of forced to, I don't know, like you're kind of forced to rest a little bit.
Yeah, but there's still things for you to do when you go stir crazy.
That's true. At the resort, there is stuff for me to do, but we're not staying at a resort like in a town. Like it's out and we don't have a car.
Right. It's like the only thing on the island. There's not anything to really go out and do.
Yep.
There's a few things to do at the resort.
Yep. So
but it will also be sort of forced relaxation because there's just not that much to do.
And I think that's good for me.
Right.
I think that's the goal. So yeah, there are a couple things that I think would be really fun for us to see and do. Obviously, a lot of beach time. We've seen that there's this is the time of the year where there's like some whales that possibly could pass through.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see those. Yeah. Just any other kind of sea life and wildlife. But that's kind of the itinerary. I do have one special thing that I'm planning that you have no idea about.
What?
Yeah. So we'll see if we vlog that. I don't know if we will vlog that. I love you very much.
We are going to be there on our anniversary.
We are going to be there on our anniversary. Interesting.
And our anniversary is one of our resort days. We specifically chose it to be a relaxing resort day. Well,
and we even planned like the day after our anniversary to be a resort day.
Yep.
Because we were like, you don't want to have like an anniversary day. You know what I mean? It's like, and then, when I would have at 6:30 the next morning to go on a day cruise.
Right.
Sleep in.
Right.
Right?
I didn't want that.
So we tried to be super intentional with our itinerary.
Yeah, placing the activity days on days that would like spaced apart and days that would kind of make sense to be able to do that.
That's exactly right. So I mentioned, I'm kind of looking at some notes over here. Other things we still need to buy. You've done a lot of shopping for Fiji.
I have. So I have dresses, which I've worn in some of these vlogs that I will be bringing with me. I also bought a few pairs of shorts and I bought 2 new swimsuits.
I have pretty much everything that I need already. There's nothing really that I need.
Except for the sarong.
And I want to buy a pair of reef shoes.
Yeah.
So I know that there's tons of coral in the area. There's tons of, and that's one of the things they've said is that if you're planning on being in the ocean in Fiji, just like grab a pair of reef shoes. So I want to get a pair of those before we leave. But other than that, I actually feel like we're pretty darn set.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing was swimsuits because the one that I had is too big. And so it's a good problem to have, but it was also just like, I'm gonna need a swimsuit.
Yep.
And so we bought 2.
We bought 2.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any other big detail of our trip that there's nothing else that is left undone that is like major. I'm no longer panicking about anything about this trip, which is kind of crazy.
And we're 2 months away.
And we are 2 months away.
Yeah.
I will say booking the resort, paying for the resort, booking all of our kind of trips, paying for all that kind of stuff, getting those things finalized have made it feel real and close.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We're closer in like actual time and booking stuff than we were when our trip was canceled before.
Wow. That's right.
We hadn't really started booking stuff.
No.
And we were still several months out, so.
2 months away. We're going to Fiji.
2 months away.
And so again, as we get closer, we'll let you guys know what an upload schedule looks like when we get back. I think that's everything on my notes. Right. We'll let you know kind of what an upload schedule looks like, but we're not going to be doing daily vlogs because this trip. Again, there's going to be days on this trip where the most we do is decide whether I
Walk
want
to the
to
beach.
go to the swim up bar or whether I want to sit in my lounge chair and have the drinks brought to me.
Correct.
That's the most. It's the most activity certain days. And so we're trying to find the balance, obviously, with the main focus of the trip being relaxation,
Right.
but then also getting out and experiencing some of Fiji, everything from some of the other islands. That was a big deal to us.
Yep.
That we actually got out to other islands, which we're going to be able to do. That we got into some of the villages, which we're going to be able to do some actual local cultural activities,
Yep.
see the sights, but then also just like come home.
And rest. Yeah. So
Rested.
we'll spend every night at the resort.
Every night at the resort, watching the sunset over the ocean
Yeah.
with palm trees and drinks in hand.
Does not sound
Holy
terrible.
cow. Does not sound terrible at all. So friends, we're going to bring you guys along, obviously, for all of it. Again, probably the best place to, well, without a doubt, the best place to follow us is going to be over on Instagram if you want to follow along with Fiji in real time. So I will link LeggLife's Instagram down below. We'll be posting on stories. We'll be posting posts as they're happening
Yep.
from Fiji. What is the time difference? Do we know the time difference?
I think it's like 22 hours.
Yeah, we actually did mention this in our Fiji announcement video. So we leave here on September 17th. We get to
Like
Fiji.
early morning on the 17th.
Yeah, we get to Fiji at like 6 a.m. on the 19th.
Correct.
September 18th does not exist for us.
Right. We're not traveling for 2 full days. We just miss September 18th.
can
It's
you-
just not going to exist.
Think of, like, what if something monumental happens on September 18th? And it's just like that day never existed for us.
I know. It's super weird. But then coming back, we have, like, it's going to be in reverse. So, like, we come back, I think, on the 28th.
I'm actually
And I feel like because of the time difference and because of the travel time, it's like we leave the evening of the 28th from Fiji, but we get back like the afternoon of the 28th
So-
back into Alaska.
So we leave Fiji at 9:40 p.m. the night of the 28th. We arrive in Los Angeles at 12:55 p.m. on the 28th. So we arrive in Los Angeles at 1 p.m. even though we left Fiji at almost 10 p.m. same day. But we actually don't get back into
We're going to
Anchorage.
cross that international.
We actually don't get back in Anchorage until the 29th because long travels and layovers and stupid stuff. But friends, we love you guys so much. Just want to give you a Fiji update.
Yeah.
We've been getting so excited as we've been booking stuff and finalizing stuff. If you have any questions about our trip, let us know in the comments below.
Yep.
We can't wait to bring you guys along. And we'll see you on the next LeggLife video.